Yes, yes, I know. I am Devon DaVinci. You are watching DaVinci Reacts. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as you can imagine, there's been a bit of a change. Now, don't be stressed out. Aphrodite is taking a quick sabbatical. She came down with a mild case of what was the name of the thing the doctor said? Oh, death. Yeah, she came up with a mild case of death, but it's okay. The hair will continue to function, just not the same as it used to be. Now, with that being said and out of the way, and of course nobody will talk about it ever again, let's get into this. This is Geography Now. You guys told me you wanted me to continue to do the Scandinavian countries, so that is my plan. I'm going to do Finland and probably Norway, and well, that's all the Scandinavian countries I can think of off the top of my head. I'm guessing is Greenland and Iceland Scandinavian countries technically. I have to look up the definition of Scandinavian, and I'll do reactions to whatever pops up. So my knowledge of Scandinavian countries isn't that great. Now let's jump into this and see what it has to offer. Before I get into this, I want to let you guys know, like I always do, watch the original video before you watch this. If you don't feel like watching the video twice, one thing you can do to help support the original channel is to go to the original video, right click the link in the description box of this video, open it in a new window, put it on mute, and play it while this video is playing. By the time the video's up, then by the time this video's up, the other video will be up as well, and they'll have earned a view. That money goes towards, or that view goes towards ad revenue that allows them to continue to fund the videos that they enjoy making. So if you want to see more Geography Now videos, that's the best way you can support them. Now with that being said, let's jump into this and see what it has to offer.
Ah, Finland. Let's talk about this place that I totally have no preconceived biases towards.
I was about to say, like, I'm wondering if
It's time to learn
these are just places that he...
No! Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbie. Welcome
I wonder if these are just places that he happened to visit, or if he's being sent there because of his channel. Now, I know at this time, when he made this video, his channel wasn't as big as it is now, but I'm wondering if he does it as part of, like, the whole entire project, or he just likes traveling. I would love to travel, but obviously I can't. I don't have the funds like that.
the dark sheep of Northern Europe. All the other Nordic countries are like, la 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 la, while Finland is like, we'll get into the heavy metal thing in a bit. But first, now just remember, Finland is Nordic, but don't call it Scandinavian. There's a huge difference. That title only belongs to Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. First of all, Finland is located in Northern Europe, lying on the Gulf of Finland and the Gulf of Bothnia, east of all that Scandinavian stuff. To the west, they border Sweden on the Torne River, or the Tornionjoki, until it reaches the tri-point border with Norway at the three-country Cairnstone. And to the east, they border big ol' Russia with another tri-point border with Norway that looks like this.
And they kicked their ass in a war.
Regions, or
no disrespect to Russia, but
autonomous region that we'll talk
when a little guy beats a big guy,
and the
you always
capital
gotta
of Helsinki, located in the south on the Gulf of
appreciation.
Finland, which is also the second most northern capital in the world after Reykjavik, Iceland. The country also owns about 180,000 islands, the highest concentration of which found in the Baltic off the coast in the Åland archipelago. Keep in mind, parts of Finland also lie within the Arctic Circle. That's how far up north they are. And the three busiest airports are Helsinki, Oulu, and Rovaniemi. Now, my favorite part, territorial anomalies! First of all, with Russia, there are too many split islands and penne enclaves. The islands of Aikaniemi and Sursari, Tarasin-Sari Islands and lakes, the island in the Koitajoki River. Seriously, just play around with Google Earth and see how many you can find. Finally, we get to Sweden and things get interesting. Most of the borders with Sweden run along rivers that eventually flow into the Torne River, and then we get a strange golf course that is split between the two countries in the town of Tornio and Sweden. Not only that, but then you have the strange Market Island right next to Åland in the Gulf of Bothnia, which has an inverted S-shaped border. It had to do with the lighthouse that was built belonging to Finland, but then Sweden was like, hey, it's too close to our side of the island. So they drew a border that was like this to give each side equal shares of the land. See this archipelago cluster of islands right here? Yeah, it belongs to Finland, even though most of the people here speak Swedish. Åland is Finland's strange little administrative anomaly. Long story short, it used to belong to Sweden, but then the Russians took over it in addition to Finland. Then after the Russian Revolution, Finland became free, and then the UN decided Åland should belong to Finland with autonomy. But then the Soviets started attacking again, and then Finland was like, nope, and then fought back relentlessly, defending themselves and Åland, and Sweden just kind of sat there and didn't really do much for Åland as they decided to stay neutral. Finland defending Åland was kind of like the turning point. Now it's kind of like, Åland, come back to me! Look, Sweden, we had some great times, but you kind of really didn't do much for me when things got crazy. I mean, Finland defended me, okay? And he treats me well, okay? His tax incentives are great. It's time to move on. It's not me. It's you.
We need a soap opera starring
also, Finland kind of threatened
nations.
that if Åland was ceded back to Sweden, they would demand the Tornio Valley. Now, before the whole Soviet
talk
thing,
about
Finland
drama.
operated the regions of Karelia, Sala, Kusamo, Petsamo, and some extra islands in the Gulf. After the wars with the Soviets, these regions were all ceded back to Russia, effectively cutting off their access to the Arctic Ocean. Very quickly, some notable sites and landmarks would have to be the old castles like Savonlinna, Hämeenlinna, Olavinlinna, and the most renowned Suomenlinna. You can probably guess what Linna means.
I was about to say, I'm guessing Linna means castle.
The home of Santa Claus, where you can go reindeer sledding. Inari and Ivalo is where you can get a real Sami traditional cultural experience. Of course, Helsinki is the epicenter of Finnish architecture and culture, with landmarks such as the Tempeli Aukia Church excavated into a rock, Mannerheim Street, the busiest road with all the shops and austere post-Soviet influenced blocky colonnaded buildings, or the iconic Helsinki Cathedral. Now those are all great, but Finland isn't really much of a tight metropolitan type of country. They love their space and have quite a bunch of it. Let's see what lies outside these cities, shall we? Now, if you want me to make this simple, some would argue that Finland is the best winter wonderland in the world. I mean, Canada's cool, but they have too many bears, and Iceland is too explodey, and Russia is too cold. Seriously though, the land is generally flat except in the north by the border with Norway, in which the highest mountain can be found, Mount Halti, although the peak is in Norway. However, in 2017, Norway plans to give Finland the peak for their 100th anniversary of independence from the Soviets. Finland is just wonderful.
So they're just going to give them a mountain for a birthday present? That's a hell of a birthday present, gotta say. Like, as an American, France has been our biggest friend as far as birthday gifts. I can't consider Alaska as a birthday gift because I'm pretty sure we bought that from them. But yeah, it's great when nations give other nations national landmarks, or landmarks that become national things. I can't say the mountain is going to be that, but it is a good first step.
Crisp and refreshing, usually ranking in the top 3 countries in the world with the cleanest air quality. This is partially because Finland is almost 80% covered in forest, one of the highest concentrations per square kilometer in the world, only behind countries like Gabon and Suriname. This makes Finland the largest producer of wood in the EU and one of the top in the world. Not only that, but Finland has about 188,000 lakes, most heavily concentrated in lakeland, and in addition to lakes, about 10% of the country is comprised of all water bodies like rivers, ponds, and streams. When mixed with the land, this makes about 1/3 of the country home to swamps and bogs, making it the highest wetland proportion country in Europe and disputably the world. Maybe. But our floods are crazier. Fittingly, the name for swamp in Finnish is suo, and the word for Finland is suomi. I mean, technically, they also have like 9 other words for swamp, like rame, neva, leto, luhta, laiteko, apa, paisa, yanka, and korpi. And they love these swamps. One Finnish pastime is jumping in the mud, sometimes naked, and either playing soccer or wrestling. The landscape of Finland is shaped that way because imagine what happens when you crush something under a heavy glacier for a really long time, and then after the glacier melts, you're left with pockety erosion and mineral residue all over. Not only that, but Finland is experiencing a post-glacial rebound in which the land is steadily rising along the coast of the Gulf of Bothnia. Every year, Finland gains about 7 square kilometers and is technically rising out of the sea. The longest river is the Kemijoki that passes through Lapland and reaches the Gulf of Bothnia. And the largest lake, as well as the 4th largest in Europe, Lake Saima, is located in the southeast. Because Finland is so far north, they are known for being the land of the midnight sun, as during summer you can literally see the sun for 24 hours a day in the northern parts by the Arctic Circle. And of course in the winter times there's hardly any sunlight at all, but if you're lucky you can witness an aurora borealis, especially in the northern parts. Oh, and by the way, the national animals are the whooper swan and the brown bear. Finnish agriculture is of course very standard for northern European countries, lots of rye wheat.
Y'all Finnish people wanna go ahead and explain what the hell this is? I'm gonna go ahead and make an assumption based on what I've heard, and y'all let me know if I'm right. And if I am right, give me all the credit in the world because I'm going in this blind. Is that blood pudding? I don't know. I was trust me, you don't want to know what I thought it was when I first saw it, but now looking at it, it's blood pudding, ain't it? Tell me if I'm right.
Agriculture is of course very standard for northern European countries. Lots of rye wheat, turnips, potatoes, and of course fishing is huge out here. However, due to the abundance of lakes and rivers, Finns prefer their own domestic freshwater fish like perch, zander, and miuku as opposed to the sea fish. Speaking of which, coming to Finland, chances are you will eventually try reindeer meat in some shape or form, whether in stew or grilled. In Lapland, you might even find bear on the menu. You can try mami, a pudding made of rye, and of course every Finn will make every visitor try this strong, salty salmiakki. They love salmiakki so much that they made it into an ice cream, and it's so good, and I'm so mad they don't sell it in my hometown. Oh yeah, in the wintertime they build ice hotels and...
So y'all have to tell me what the flavor of what is the flavor of this? For a commoner American like me, describe in my terms what this would taste like. Because I'm curious, because it looks like charcoal. 230 calories. So it's rather dense, like a candy bar.
And it's so good, and I'm so mad they don't sell it in my hometown. Oh yeah, in the wintertime they build ice hotels, and there's like this cool waterfall in the Paratisi Kuru area in the Uru Kekkonen National Park. Okay, let's talk about Finnish people. Okay, if you go to Finland, you will most likely experience a rather intense yet intriguing social construct. First of all, the country has about 5.5 million people and is the most sparsely populated country in the EU. The country is about 90% ethnically Finnish, about 6% are Swedish, and the rest is made up of everything else under the sun like Russians, Estonians, Asians, and Africans. They use the euro as currency, they use the type CEF outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Of course, the Finnish people speak the Finnish language, which is arguably one of the hardest languages on earth to learn. Conjugation is a mess, nouns and adjectives have inflectionary forms, whatever that means. Nonetheless, Finland has one of the best schooling systems in the world. In Finland, school hours are shorter, less homework is given, and there are virtually no mandated standardized tests apart from the exam you take in your final senior year of high school. Also, if you get your PhD, you have the option to get a sword and a top hat along with your diploma. This is also why Finland is one of the most English-friendly countries in Europe. Children are taught around ages 9 to 11, and most people of the younger generation can at least hold an impressively fluid conversation. Finland is actually a conscription country in which all men ages 18 and up are required to serve either in the military or civilian services anywhere from 165 days to a year, depending on the type of service applied for. Åland Islands are exempt from the military conscription, but are required to serve in some kind of institution like the Coast Guard or civil services. Finnish culture is actually pretty funny. The stereotype is that Finns are incredibly quiet and don't talk that much in most public transactions. Just mind your business and no small talk. The cartoon Finnish Nightmares illustrates this concept pretty well. Check it out. Which is funny because Finland is huge on the boisterous, loud, and flashy heavy metal culture, having the highest concentration of heavy metal bands out of any other country in the world, with nearly 650 per 1 million residents. Finns also invented the wife carrying competition, in which a man must carry either his wife or girlfriend or any girl that agrees to get tossed around in an obstacle course, and the winner gets to win.
She didn't know like she was having a good time.
It's very strategic because if you want to win, you might want to carry a lighter wife, but if you want more beer, you better do your squats, bro. Now, if you must know one thing about Finnish culture, you have to know about sauna. The Finns invented the sauna. Most homes, hotels, and apartments have a sauna built into them. They actually had a sauna competition at one point, but then a Russian guy died and they had to kind of
It's sauna.
Overall, though, Finns are kind of brought up in a mindset known as sisu. It's kind of hard to explain the exact definition of it, but it kind of means something like guts or determination and never giving up, which really helped them along the fight with the Soviets. Sisu is to Finland what Jantaloen is to Denmark. There are so many other things I wish we could talk about, but we're running out of time. But we do have time for
Angry Birds isn't something I would flaunt.
Historically, Finland was kind of always a little lonely. I mean, few, if any, trading routes ever went through this area. Even the Mongols were like, we're good, nah, yeah, carry on. Nonetheless, over time, Finland did develop relations, and to this day is one of the most diplomatically outreached countries in the world. I mean, the Finnish passport is the #1 ranked and most sought after, as it has the highest number of visa-free countries applied to it. First of all, Finland generally gets along with other Nordic countries. However, they have the biggest frenemy relationship with Sweden. They'll trade and share a beer or two, but when hockey season comes, the bloodbath begins. When it comes to Russia, Finland kind of has to be their friend because Russia has the longest border with them and business is important. Nonetheless, Russia is kind of seen as like the next door neighbor that you once got into an argument with, but then you kind of fix things up, but then you kind of really didn't get over it, and then you have to see them every other day in the morning as you go to work. Germans are always welcome in Finland, and Hungarians are like the long-lost distant cousins that they just discovered and are trying to build a relationship with. Their best friends, though, might be Estonia and Norway. Everybody loves Norway. It's like the Cameroon.
Estonia.
Norway has never had any controversy with Finland.
pray.
and with the recent mountain gift proposal,
Again, I hope I
relations are
pronounced
only
that correctly.
strengthened. Estonia is like the nagging little sister that tries to imitate her bigger brother. I mean, they both even have the same national anthems, but in the end, they are family, and Finland always loves her. In conclusion, Finland really is a winter wonderland with quiet people that transform into metal monsters after a pint of long drink, topping their days off, baking themselves in human ovens for fun. And with that, we finish the Finnish episode. Ah, you waited for that for over 10 minutes. Stay tuned.
I wasn't expecting it.
The country that must not be named, is coming up next.
I guess that's a carry-on from the whole Alexander the Great situation. So I will have to check that at some point. But like I said, I'm gonna check out the I will resume the Scandinavian countries after this. This was a detour, I guess. Going in, I didn't expect that, but this is a detour from the Scandinavian reactions from the past. But anyway, yeah, I love watching these videos because they educate you on different parts of history, which is why I gave a quick shout out to Artur, I think it's how you pronounce it, for Estonia, because I've watched a lot of his videos and I know everything I know about Estonia from him. Like he is the one that has probably been the best ambassador to Estonia on YouTube that I know of. So just for educating me on parts of America, on parts of the world that I wasn't familiar with, and giving me a stepping stone in Europe to like learn more about, that is a thank you. Quite literally a stepping stone, because I believe Estonia, the term has something to do with stone. It's Estonia. I'm imagining stone is something to do with the name of it, and it's my jump off point to learning more about Europe as a whole. So in a way, it is a stepping stone. Now, Finland. As you guys know, and in America, we are currently in an election season, and I have not hid my own personal political opinions on who I support. If you support somebody, even if it's the person that I don't support, I have no problems with with your political beliefs. So don't think that because I support Bernie Sanders that means that I think less of you or anything, no matter who you vote for. Even if it's a Republican, you are free to vote for whoever the hell you want to vote for. I'm a Bernie Sanders guy. And Finland is one of the countries that he points to the most when it comes to countries he wants to model certain social programs behind. So learning more about Finland, even though he didn't really talk too much about their healthcare programs and things like that, is something that is very fascinating for me, and something I would like to learn more nuanced details about, because it's one thing to hear people tell you the statistical numbers in regards to programs that a country might have, but it's a whole nother thing to actually talk to people that's involved in it. So I would like to hear from some people from Finland, or who either vacation or have a residence or whatever else it is, someone who frequently goes to Finland and is aware of the system that's in place. Let me know what you think about it as far as your opinions. Compare it to other countries. Like if you happen to know anything about the American health system, compare it to that. Which one would you rather have? Which one would be better for you, and things like that. I would like to hear from it. And don't try to fake it. If you don't know anything about the Finland medical system, or whatever system that happens to be a program that Bernie Sanders is modeling his policies after, don't say you know something about Finland if you've never been there. Don't say you know anything about Finland if you have no idea exactly how the system works. I'm not trying to push any propaganda over here. So with that being said, I would like to get word from people from Finland and get a good opinion about what you guys think about Medicare and schools and things like that. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the deuces. R.I.P. Aphrodite. And I look forward to seeing what you guys got to say in the future. I'm going to give you the deuces, and I'm signing out. Deuces.